Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Coming up here on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the biggest winners and losers after the Raiders' 23-6 win over the New England Patriots. Now, honestly, man, if you watch this game from top to bottom, you got to be very impressed by Josh McDaniels' team because realistically, like, the second and third stringers outplayed the Patriots' first-string roster. When you look at some of the leaders here for Jarrett Stidham, he was 4-6, 72 yards. Chase Garbers, 12 of 22 for 141. Britton Brown, thought he played well, 11 of 28 for a touchdown. Zamir White, 5 of 17 for a touchdown. For the Raiders, some of those leaders, 3 for 48 was Clelin Cole. Also, Tyron Johnson, 1 catch for 48. And then as you can see on screen, Cole following him, 1 for 20. So what you guys are going to see here on today's show is ultimately me breaking down the biggest winners and losers of today's game. Now, if you're a diehard Raider fan, you bleed silver and black, and if you're just looking for extra content, maybe you wake up in the morning, you want to hear just some stuff while you're showering, maybe while you're walking your dog, while you're driving to work, whatever it is, the Raiders Report, we got you covered. So hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, y'all. Videos every single day. We go live at least twice a week. Shit, I went live at least, 6, 7 times this week. We got an interactive YouTube channel. More subs equals more videos. So if you love the Raiders, hit that subscribe button. Let's go to the winners here. We're going to first start off with them and then work our way over to the losers on today's show. I got to give some love to Tashawn Bower. For the Raiders this preseason, the MVP is Tashawn Bower. I tweeted it out at Mitchell Renz 365. Bower deserves a spot on this roster. He's had 5 sacks this preseason. He's been a force getting after the quarterback. He shows relentless will to just continue that play, to keep it going. And there's a lot of people out there like, I get it. You're going to keep Max. You're going to keep Chandler. You're going to keep Malcolm Koonce. You're probably going to keep Clelin Ferrell, who, just because of the contract. But if the Raiders want to keep 5 defensive ends, man, you got to keep this dude here. So for the Raiders, you got Crosby, Chandler. They just released Jordan Jenkins a few days ago because of that IR designation. But Tashawn Bower deserves a spot on this team. I mean, if you can look me in the eyes, if you can look a lot of players in the eyes and say, hey, preseason makes a difference, then prove it. Because Bower proved himself this preseason that he deserves a spot on this roster. So as far as I'm concerned, he's going to be my 53-man tomorrow. Let's go to the next player here who I thought was a winner. It's Jesper Horsted. And the reason why I'm going to go with Horsted is because if Waller actually has an injury designation where the silver and black are a little bit worried about our tight end, you know Morrow's a great guy. Jacob Hollister hasn't been on the field. He's been injured for almost like 2.5, 3 weeks at this point. Nick Bowers didn't inspire me all that much. Yes, Fotheringham stepped up here and there. But Horsted is your other best option in terms of a pass catcher behind Waller, behind Morrow. And if, God forbid, if actually something is dealing with Waller and that hamstring injury, you want to be able to sit up here and tell Raider Nation, you know what, don't worry, we got Hollister. We got Horsted. We have other reliable tight end options, and the fact that he has connection with Champ Kelly, I think that he's going to ultimately make this team. So who was the Raiders' biggest winner against the Patriots, y'all? Let me know down in the comments section right now. Major shout out to the entire nation who tuned in for our live show. Major shout out to everyone who's going to be out hanging out with me in California tomorrow. Who was the Raiders' biggest winner against the Patriots? Let me know down in the comments. Honestly, it's either Bower or I think it's this next guy coming up here. And it's Luke Masterson, the UDFA out of Wake Forest. I have been telling y'all for weeks, the UDFA that I believe makes this roster is Masterson. And he proved it yet again. Remember, we're going to go back here. Okay? We're going to go back a little bit of time. When the Raiders drafted Tanner Muse, they wanted him to be a safety. They wanted him to be a linebacker, split type of defender. He couldn't do it. Not that Tanner wasn't a good enough athlete. I don't think he was smart enough to be able to pick up some of the defensive schemes that the Raiders were trying to run. In terms of Masterson, 6 tackles tonight, 1 pass breakup, and an interception. Yeah, Mac Jones throw the ball right to him, but you still have to in the preseason. If a play is presented to you, you still have to make it. That's what he's done. He's not only playing special teams, he has outplayed Darien Butler. And probably a month ago, I would have said if there was one UDFA linebacker that was going to make this roster, it was going to be Butler because of his connections with Antonio Pierce. Not anymore, man. It's got to go to Masterson. He was by far the best player on the linebacker unit from a UDFA standpoint, and then once the second half started, wasn't in the game. I do think that's a very, very telling thing. Let's go to the next winner here for our Raiders-Patriots breakdown, Sam Webb. I continue to be impressed by Webb, and when I do my 53-man breakdown, Webb's going to be one of those dudes where, man, it's going to be a coin flip. I don't know if he makes it. I don't know if he doesn't. But to me, if the Raiders want to keep 6 corners, I'm going to keep Webb over Amik Robertson. He has earned that right to me. He has been a good outside corner. He continues to step up. He continues to make plays. 5 tackles tonight, 1 pass breakup. I am really, really keeping my hopes up that Webb can make this team. I ultimately don't know if it's going to happen, but he was a winner for me tonight. Now, if you guys want to be a winner, remember, tonight's show is presented by BetUS, and to get the best deal on the internet, go to chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. That's going to get you a 125% deposit bonus. What does that mean? It means if you put down $125 or $100, you get $125 for free to bet with. You can actually be a big baller, put down $500, get $625 for free. There you go. I'm telling you. So latest division odds. The Chiefs, they're at plus 160. The Broncos plus 250. Chargers plus 250. The Raiders at plus 600. So hypothetically speaking, if you were to put $10 down on the Raiders to win, they would get $60. That's what they end up getting. So chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. Let's go to the final winner of today's game against the Patriots, Malcolm Koonce. He didn't play a lot of snaps today, but when the Raiders lost Kyler Fackrell for the season, I was a little bit worried of who's going to be the other edge rusher behind Crosby, behind Chandler Jones. I think you see your answer. It's Koonce. And I was a little bit worried about the initial draft pick of him coming out of Buffalo because he was a very raw prospect. But what I've seen thus far in the preseason, he's athletic enough to make plays. And when he's put in the right situations, pass rushing situations, he can be a good player. That's what he is. And that's okay because you have Crosby, you have Jones, and when those dudes needs a breather, cool. You got Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson in this division. You need as much pass rushing help as you can possibly get. So get after the quarterback and go out and get him. Malcolm Koonce, to me, was a big-time winner. Now, if anybody wants to ever interact with me, and, dude, I'm stoked for everyone who comes across this show. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Venmo, we're going to be doing a lot of, 50-50 raffles during the regular season, and the only way you're going to win is if you hit me up on Venmo, at MitchellRenz365. But as you can see, I know, it's surprising. I'm at MitchellRenz365 literally everywhere. But the most important one, hit me up, Venmo, add me as a friend. We're going to do a lot of 50-50 giveaways during the regular season. Unfortunately now, even though the Raiders played really, really well, I didn't really want to name too many losers, but my job was here to give 5 losers. I honestly thought they played well. The only reason why I'm going to throw Kyle Peko in this list is because he didn't play in the first half. From what I've been told, the Raiders like Peko a lot. And Hankins is going to make the team. Billings is going to make the team, who didn't play tonight. Balon Nichols, he's going to make the team. You know, the 2 rookies are going to make the team, Neil Farrell Jr., Matthew Butler. But between Peko, Lancaster, Vickers, the fact that he just didn't play all that much makes him a loser to me. Next name coming up here is probably the name that everyone wants to see. It's Alex Leatherwood. He didn't inspire me in any way whatsoever. I mean, it's just the truth. I was very frustrated the fact that the Raiders played him at right tackle. I think it's unfair to him. He's a guard. And the fact that you're not playing him at guard is a disrespect to Alex Leatherwood. I've also been told by a source that Leatherwood is kind of fed up with the Raiders at this point and the entire organization, and maybe that decides where he doesn't want to be a part of this team anymore. but he's playing in the fourth quarter of your last preseason game. It's never a good sign. If he wasn't drafted in the first round, I think he'd be on his way out. Now, I made a video earlier in the week here on the Raiders Report. I also made a video over on Chat Sports of the top destinations for the number 17 overall pick in the 2020-21 draft. I got the Dolphins, Cowboys, Texans, Giants, Steelers. I also think teams like Tampa Bay make sense. I think teams like Chicago, Tennessee, Vikings, the Jets. If the Raiders get a fourth-round pick for Leatherwood, you trade him. It sucks. I get it. But at this point, if he doesn't want to be here, you got to move on. You got to get something for him because he's going to be a backup. That's all he is at this point. So what do you do with Alex Leatherwood, y'all? Do you keep him? Do you trade him? Do you cut him? I know. It's a really, really difficult decision. But these are the decisions that the nation needs to make. These are the decisions that McDaniels and Ziegler will make. KTC, what do you do with Alex Leatherwood? Let's go to the next loser here. It's Clelin Ferrell. He got a lot of starts tonight. He got some reps in. He was an interesting run at defensive tackle, defensive end. But he didn't make an impact. Like, this Raiders organization, they're not playing around. They're going to move on from Kenyon. Cool. Save 3 point, or you move on from him, you lose some money. If you're realistically deciding on cutting Leatherwood, then what makes you think that they wouldn't cut Clelin Ferrell either? As far as I'm concerned, Tashawn Bower deserves a spot over Ferrell. He has yet to show me anything this preseason, offseason, training camp, nothing, that he deserves a spot in this team. The only thing keeping him on this team is his contract. But if the Raiders organization doesn't care about that, yeah, not a good sign for him. So I asked you earlier about some winners. So now give me some losers. Who was the Raiders' biggest losers against the Patriots? If you want to name more than one name, shout out to y'all. Give me one name. I'll be looking in the comments. The next name coming up here is going to be Darien Butler. And I actually don't really think that Butler played all that bad tonight. But if I'm going to make Masterson a winner, the way that I design these shows is I got to make Butler a loser. Because if you're sitting here telling me, all right, Mitch, we can only keep Butler or Luke Masterson, I got to keep Masterson. And I get all the ties that Butler has with Antonio Pierce. I get all the ties that Pierce has with this Raiders organization. But there's no world that I can sit up here and legitimately look at every single person that comes across this video and says that Butler deserves a spot over Masterson. I think it comes down to those two guys, and that's really as simple as it. Now, Butler did lead the team tonight with 7 tackles. And there's going to be a lot of people out there that just hunt the box score, which I get it. But against the game in Miami, game against the Vikings, he struggled in coverage. Don't know if he played all that bad tonight in coverage, but Masterson outplayed him. And for that, he's a loser. The final name I'm going to come up here is Matthew Butler. I've been told for about 2 weeks now that the Raiders aren't all that impressed by Butler's development. They like Neil Farrell Jr., but they were hoping for more out of Butler thus far, and I think it's one of the reasons why you could potentially see the Raiders end up actually keeping more defensive tackles on this team than originally planned, which I'll probably outline in my 53-man roster projection video tomorrow, but that's just the world that we live in, right? Like, the defensive tackle is a need. You got great edge rushers, but if you can't bolster that interior defensive line, it's going to be a long season for the Raiders. Simple as that. You're going to have a great offense. We've seen years past. If you don't have a legitimate defense, you're not a Super Bowl contender. And if you're not a Super Bowl contender, then what the hell are you doing around here? So for that reason alone, I am going to name Matthew Butler a loser here on the Raiders Report. So one more time, y'all, let's go through these losers. Kyle Peko, Alex Leatherwood, Clelin Ferrell, Darien Butler, and then Matthew Butler. And then to wrap up the winners, we got Tashawn Bower, deserves to make the team. Jesper Horsted, if you're worried about Waller, deserves to make the team. Luke Masterson, absolutely deserves to make the team. Sam Webb's a tough one, man. He's a roster bubble candidate. And then Malcolm Koonce, he's going to be a lock to make this team. Those are my winners. Those are my losers. But how about this question here? Because the Raiders are 4-0 right now. I get it. It's the preseason. But you know what? 21 of those does sound pretty good. So what will be the Raiders' record this upcoming season? Shout out to everyone who came across this video. Appreciate everyone who tuned into our watch party tonight. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please make sure you do so.